because with creativity, you can go to many different places, It serves you, of course, in throwing out ideas, and like having broader view into how to fix problems and so on. But also it helps you cope with the adversities of working in marketing.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Wisenetix Podcast. My name's Daryl. I'm your host today, and feels like most of the time now. But today I've got a really great person with me. I always have fun talking with her. Her name's Erica Franco. She's the marketing communication manager over at Corbion. Erica, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me here.
Tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm a vet with a 14 years marketing experience. So it's a little bit unusual, right? And I've been working in different marketing roles across the agitech, biotech, feed and food companies throughout this time. And was blessed to have a bunch of opportunities and working amazing projects, but also do some crazy things. From working with a award-winning film director, a Brazilian one, Fernando Meirelles, in a project, to co-pilot a small plane in Brazil, visiting customers, and of course, like have great experience in the Vikings Fjord in Norway, visiting customers as well. So I mean, this career, it's been a crazy ride, but it's been a blast.
That's crazy. So vet and marketing, 14 years, right? But like co-pilot of a plane,
Yes,
visiting customers in Brazil.
Yes, absolutely.
Holy smokes! And the Viking Fjord, that sounds beautiful as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Little jealous. We'll make sure my wife doesn't listen to this one. But those sound like huge accomplishments to begin with. But what would you say is a top accomplishment of yours, and maybe what did you learn from that?
So I guess when people ask me that question, I always refer back to personal accomplishments, right? Because I mean, it's easy for us to say a product launch or winning market share, or like working in some area or business that I was able to do so and so. But I guess that for me, when I think about accomplishments, they're more related to the fact that I started, of course, in the technical area, my bachelor being veterinary, and working in R&D, and then being able to see through an opportunity and move to the commercial area right at the beginning of my career. So I was 2 years in working in R&D and going directly to marketing, because at that time when I was looking, like to the companies that I would love to work for and so on, most of the people in marketing, they were, coming from sales. They had stayed like 10 years in sales, and then they moved to marketing. And I thought to myself, I just don't have the patience. So I need to find a way to go to work in a marketing role right at like the start. And that's something that I was able to do. And and really enjoy that transition, like, and being able to see the world differently. Because when you get to school, you think, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Like people kind of not nowadays. I feel that actually that's less. I think that younger generations, they're smarter than us. But at that time it was pretty flat. You go to vet school, you're going to be a vet, and so on. And and that difference, that dual mentality brought me to where I am today. So I think that for sure was an accomplishment. And then I guess that the second one was when I left Brazil. I'm Brazilian, and had to move to Europe. So being able to, of course, enter the workforce here in Europe and navigate the European community, and like it's quite complex, so and unique and beautiful, of course. But it was something that I was, of course, very very happy and fortunate, to do as well. So I think that's the second one. And then I think that the third one, it's always being very aware of the power of women in the workforce, in those environments that I was in. So right at the start, I got always involved with, of course, female leadership in the workplace projects, and like having the possibility to launch an ONU campaign inside a company that I work for. So I've think about those projects with a very, like a very, yeah, very proud. Yeah.
And you should be. I mean, that all of those are like stellar accomplishments. And you said a few things that I totally like check off. Like I think probably when we were going to school and what we were fed like our entire lives up to it is you go to college, whatever you go to college for, that's what you get a job for, and that's your job for life, right? And I think you're right that the current generation maybe isn't so fixed on that. But you've certainly done some really unique, kind of cool things, like a quick transition into marketing from a vet background, which certainly I would say is probably not normal. And, and you'd agree with that. And then like, yeah, just women in businesses, it's like an amazing thing because you have like a very different perspective than like say I would. And I love seeing really everybody climb up the ladder and bring people with them. So that you did that and that you recognize that is awesome as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's also a fun question that I ask everybody, and I think I preface it like this every time. But Erica, how would your parents describe what you do?
I think that yeah, they now in my current role, they would say she does the marketing for the algae. And the algae is good because you get, like sustainable and good omega-3s better than the alternatives, better than what we use. And that's about it. They yeah. The
Hey,
technicalities of it, I think that, yeah, it's a little bit strange to them.
I think that's better than what I hear most of the time, actually. Mine would be like he just talks to people, I think. I don't really know.
I hope so.
Like, oh, okay. Thanks, Mom. I'll call you next Thanksgiving too. Um, transitioning more into like some marketing questions.
Yeah.
Um, and this is important because it's big for what we do here at Wisenetix. But do you think producing and sharing technical content is important for brand positioning, and why or why not?
I think it's a very powerful tool, but I think that it needs to be aligned with your business strategy. Because if you're going to invest in doing content, like in creating technical content, you need trials, you need maybe a technical expert or a group of people, right, that is going to support you in creating that content, so it won't be fluffy. There's a level of investment that it needs to be made, and if that investment doesn't is not connected to any business outcome for you, because you're not going to be able to sell more, to win market share, or to create value around your product or service or whatever you're doing, then it might not make sense. I'm against doing things just because everyone else is doing,
Hmm.
like in all those educational campaigns that we see. So I think that is just a waste of time and resources to most people, because if you're going to commoditize and, like in the end, it's not going to pay off. So, but for the businesses that are willing and want to be positioned as thought leaders in what they're doing, and that really want to create value around what they're doing, I think it's one of the most powerful tools. And from what I see and the data that we see in different industries, right? So the level of technical support and information, it's not, most of the time it's not where the customer wants it to be, and there's a lot of value that you can create around that. Of course, you position yourself as a thought leader, and that's I think that the dream for most companies, at least they say it is. And but also in terms of adjusting your value framing and your value affirmation, like into generating business for you later on. So making sure that the customer understands what he can do with your solution, and that solution is the right solution for him, into their business and whatever they're doing. So I think that the technical piece there, it's something that can be very powerful.
For sure. And I love that you said that it needs to be aligned. Otherwise, there's no point, right? You get a bunch of arrows going in separate directions. It doesn't help. Um, you said a few things too that kind of jumped on my next question a little bit. So I'm going to kind of ask it in a little bit of a different way. You mentioned it's great for companies that are looking to build, brand authority and thought leadership. Is that part of what you guys do over at Corbion as well, to kind of build those two things? Or do you do other things in order to kind of raise your thought leadership in the marketplace?
Yeah, we do that, right? But in our case, it makes sense for two reasons. Because we are creating the way through the fermentation technology that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So explaining, it's we have a heterotrophic fermentation technology of microalgae, which means that doesn't rely on light, so we don't grow algae in those pools that you see, like those ponds that you see if you Google algae. That's what you're going to see. Our technology has nothing to do with that. It's just cathedrals, like closed pipes, that you actually grow the algae there, and then you're able to create nutrients based on that, right? So that's very new, and just a few companies have it, and we are one of the few companies that are able to do that at scale and sustainable, in a sustainable manner. So in that sense, we feel that there is a great opportunity, to become thought leaders, of course, in algae fermentation, but also in creating nutrition through that technology, right? So we're exploring very much that. But I guess that it's important to concentrate around the value that you're creating, and also
Mm-hmm.
have consistency. That's what we're looking to do. So it's not a short-term strategy. So for business that are just looking into how they're going to close the quarter or the year, and not really thinking more on like a 5 year to 10 years perspective. Yeah.
I love that you said it's not a short term plan, right? Because it's not, it's a long sort of thing. And it kind of reminded me of, the one of the founders of Nike held a meeting about, with the shareholders. It was a shareholder meeting. And he asked, how many of you run once a week? And so some people put their hands up. He's like, how many of you run every day? And, less people put their hands up. And he's like, how many of you run when it's raining, no matter what, it's storming, you still go out and run? And even fewer people raise their hand, because the question that was being asked was, who are you making these shoes for? And
Yeah.
he said, we're making these shoes for you. And now I don't think you could go anywhere in the world without knowing that, hey, Nike makes a great athletic shoe. So, and that's not like a today, yesterday sort of like, let's throw a TikTok ad out there and see what happens. That's a long-term thing. So I
Yeah.
really love that you said that. What would you say is the biggest challenge you're facing in your department right now, Erica?
Yeah, doing that for sure. No, I guess that what we're doing is so new. And there's algae alone, it's a universe. The amount of species and the things that you can do with algae is just, like the possibilities are crazy. And we are very much trying to help both animal nutrition businesses and human nutrition business into tap into nutrients in a sustainable manner. being technological, being very aware of the consequences for them. So what we do at Corbion is we're very good in scaling things, in making things really huge and feasible for customers. So if I bring you a technology and it's super expensive and super novel, but won't make sense into your reality today, most customers will abandon that. And then they will come back just, like when there's nothing else to be done, or, for some niche within their business. And that's not what we do. So we are now into the phase of expanding into new markets. And the challenge is to present to some of the industries that we're entering what that technology can do for them, right?
Right.
So, and it's a lot of work, especially because again it's very new. But I need to say that we've been happy with the results.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'm sure you guys will be. It's always hard jumping into new markets where you don't have any presence. Use your word, sterile,
Yeah.
and kind of like building that reputation again, um, for them. So props on you guys for being able to do that. And scaling is like that's where the magic happens. So, kind of switching gears a little bit here, but what's a common myth about your job?
I love that question. I think that my favorite one is that there are two of them. That it's easy, that anyone can do it, and that is fake, right? So people referring, of course, to marketing as like something that is a lie. So it's it's marketing. And throughout the years, of course, and maturity helps. I kind of, it doesn't bother me anymore. But like, and you kind of course, learn to it, and you can see and learn how to separate things. um but I think that, yeah, it's not easy at all, right? You need the right level of understanding of what you're doing. And for me, it's amazing to see how there's a bunch of salespeople that add marketing, like to their skills and so on. And the opposite is also true. And that you just go there and you put something on a slide, make it, shiny and bright, and people will buy it. And it can be that people will buy it in this minute, and then but that won't take you for the long run, right? So I think that to have a strategy that will help you dominate the business that you're in, it's really what marketing is about. And it cannot be fake. It needs to be, again, wired into the business, into the truth of that company, to the vision that that company has, and the way that the company operates. Otherwise, it won't.
And it's funny you said a few things there. You know, I come from a very deep sales background, and there are some organizations where there's definitely some salespeople who are like, marketing is just it's a wish. I don't know what they do. It's nothing. If you're that sales guy, I promise you, that's not the case. That is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the case. Um, so it's really a tough job. You're right. You have to understand the data you're looking at and the information that's coming through, and make sure it aligns with your company strategies.
Absolutely. And it's a love and hate relation, right? Sales and marketing. But I need to tell you that the best insights and the best projects, like the best accomplishments business wise that I've had experienced in my career were around great salespeople, of course, but also not because they were great in like doing sales, but also being great in understanding a bigger picture of the business, like having that amplitude, that
Mhm.
vision of how to take the business further besides their numbers, and really collaborating with marketing. Also, because in B2B, with essentially most of the biotech, agtech companies are, right? B2B, the sales team, the people that are there in the front line, they're the main channel to deliver, to bring alive the positioning. So if they don't buy in to what you're doing, if they don't agree, you have a problem with your strategy, right? So if they're complaining, you should listen to them. Like they're of course very knowledgeable people, right? So, and I think that for marketeers, yeah, people tend to be a little bit, like hard on sales as well. I think that both sides,
Yeah, you said it best. It's a love-hate relationship.
yeah,
A lot of salespeople, and I could probably include myself in this a little bit, are pretty headstrong and stubborn, and some can be very egotistical at times, and
yeah,
so it doesn't give a great reputation. But you're right, when marketing and sales work hand in hand, you can move and accomplish some really amazing things. And you can also be completely dysfunctional and not do anything at all. So that's interesting that you see that too. But what would you say is the most important or an important personality trait that someone would need to be successful in your position?
I would say creativity, because with creativity you can go to many different places. It serves you, of course, in throwing out ideas, and like having broader view into how to fix problems and so on. But also it helps you cope with the adversities of yeah, working in marketing. And I guess that is one of those things that people think that you cannot exercise, which is not true. You can absolutely exercise creativity and become a more creative person. And it's one of the traits that I feel that it really pays off. Yeah, also because it gives you freshness, and people are dying for freshness. Like to be surprised, to have something that was unexpected in a positive way.
That's a really interesting answer. I love that you said creative. Um, and then the way you anchored it with the freshness, for sure. People crave authenticity, and authenticity that's like now instead of yesteryears.
Yeah.
Can't say I have that, but we'll see. We'll see there.
I
Well,
think you do.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. What would you say is an important lesson that you've learned over your career?
In dealing with challenges and being able to operate and to function into those challenges in a positive way. Don't get me wrong, it's not that I like to suffer. Of course not. But I think that, again, when you come out of university or whatever, when you're, like the first 5 years of your career, you tend to be a little naive, which is nice because, of course, it helps you to be fearless. But at the same time, you expect everything to go as planned, and the reality is 99% of the time in business, things will not go as planned. So I think that, yeah, being able to cope with changes, loving change, and managing, dodging adversity, yeah, it's something that I've learned.
I hate to go to like a Rocky Balboa quote, but when he's out there and he's talking to his son and he's like, the world's going to hit you harder than anything else ever will. And it's not about what you do, it's about how many you can take and keep moving forward. And it's something that I think I tell almost everybody this. My daughter's applying to college now, and she handles stress very poorly. She's really good at everything she does, but if too much happens, she freezes. And it's kind of what I tell her. I'm like, I know it's a lot. I know you got a lot on your plate, but you can't stop. The stopping's what gets you. You just
Yeah,
keep going. Um,
absolutely.
and so you're right. I think learning to deal with adversity is an amazing thing. Um, Now, did you learn that from somebody, or did you have a really great mentor that you had when you were kind of coming up the ranks here?
Yeah, I love that question, and and thank you for asking that, because I would love to share with you, and help demystify a little bit, if I may, right, if I can, for people, because I cannot say that I had a mentor. Um, And I always, like heard people saying, I had a mentor and that person helped me, like make the achieve the milestones in my career and so on. And I always thought, okay, that will also happen for me.
Mm-hmm.
But 6 years in, now it never did. And at some point I thought, okay, what's wrong? And in reality, there's nothing wrong. There's a bunch of people that don't have mentors. And what I realized was it takes a village, right? So in my case, I didn't have a mentor, but I had a bunch of people, but really a lot of people that helped me and inspired me and coached me through all the different moments in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, of course, I was more um, paying attention to what they were saying, and other times not as much as I wish. But I need to tell you that I had a bunch of people that helped me, but not in a mentor way. One of the people that I'm most thankful for is actually one of my old bosses, um, Maluna Scheiner. She's the CEO at Bayer in Brazil, and she gave me a really bad feedback. A really big feedback one day, and with the most kind heart, like delivered as you should. And it really changed my life, and I am not exaggerating, because based on that feedback, I decided to take action into living the life that I wanted and pursuing, like a different path in my career. And I think about that a lot, so sometimes it won't be a person, but it will be a bunch of people giving you, like those
Little steps.
breadcrumbs, yeah, along the way.
That's awesome. Also, props to her for giving you bad feedback in a great way. That's hard.
She's,
That's
I mean,
really hard.
yeah, she's the CEO, man. It's not. I think, yeah, she's talented. So no, it really made an impact on me.
That's awesome. But that, and like, props to her and props to you as well, because it's hard to take action after poor feedback and not like hold that against somebody, right? Um, and to do that and then breadcrumb your way there. I agree with you. I think even if you have a mentor, you still have the village.
Yeah,
You still
absolutely.
have the village, and that village will help you get somewhere because we get farther as together than we do alone.
Of course. And don't get me wrong, for people that have that someone, like that helps you, because of course I've changed companies due to, like, of course, reasons of life as well. But um, people that have someone in a company that they stay for a long time, that help them, there's nothing wrong with that. Of course,
Hmm.
that's a blessing. But sometimes that's not what happens, and that's okay as well, right? So I think that you need to be open to, like the goodness that everyone is giving to you, even the bad bosses and so on, because even the bad ones, they give you experience as well, which was not the case of Malua. For the love of
Yeah.
God, she was amazing.
Yeah. Find the lesson in the situation. There's a lesson in everything.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. I can't say I've learned had a great bad feedback, but but I'm glad that you have. Uh, kind of wrapping it up here, Erica. If you could go back and give 18-year-old you one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think it would be a little bit like to what you were saying just before. It will be, like you can do whatever you want. Be aware that your heart will be broken, that you will, suffer in different ways, but yeah, you should be fearless and you should keep going, because, like, if you want something for real, um you should fight for it. So yeah.
I don't love the suffering part. I don't think anybody does. But my dad told me something pretty young where it was like, you can't make iron without melting the rock first.
Yeah.
So you got to go through, we all got to go through it, take our lumps, and then at the other end, hope we get out of it what we want to get out of it. But
Absolutely.
I love that. I would give myself the same advice. 18-year-old me would not listen, but
Yeah.
but that's a separate issue. Um, what is one podcast or even a resource about business or marketing that you would recommend to the audience? And if it's a book, be careful. I might buy it.
I think you might have it. I love anything by Robert Greene. I think that he's, of course, amazing. So it's cliche of me, but I need to say that. I really, of course, love. I'll tell you a book, a podcast, and something else. So books, anything by Robert Greene. Podcast. I do like. I enjoy listening to the Women at Work by Harvard Business Review, because of course they have a female perspective,
Mhm.
and it's very nice, nice discussions, insightful discussions about women in different industries. And I love doing that as well, like looking at completely different industries for a benchmark. And for people that like marketing and branding, most of all, there's on TikTok, there's Bill Harper, the brand boss. I really enjoy how he explains branding in a easy, simple way for people, like, so especially young people that might be looking into it. Yeah, Bill Harper.
Okay. Those are some great suggestions. Bill Harper, by the way, I see him every now and then. Not like in person, I mean on TikTok. I don't know him personally, in case anybody's wondering. Not that important. But yeah, those are some. I'm going to listen to that podcast. That sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Awesome
Yeah.
suggestions. Awesome suggestions. It's going to be I go for a 30-minute walk for lunch. I'm putting it on today. And closing it up here, Erica, where can everybody listening today find you online?
I'm on LinkedIn. So Erica Franco, Erica with a C. Just if you want, of course, you're more than welcome to connect with me there. At Corbion page as well, Corbion Algae Ingredients, to see what we're doing in terms of sustainable nutrition for animal and human health. And the Corbion website, corbion.com.
Awesome. Well, Erica, it was awesome talking with you today.
Thank you so much for the invite. I really enjoyed talking with you. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a lot of fun too. And everybody who's listening, go find Erica on LinkedIn. Follow her up. It'll be fun. But we'll see you next time.